Good morning, students. Welcome back to Computer Applications classes of Class 10. Hope all of you are doing well. Let us start with our session. In our previous session, we have completed the first unit, that is networking. In this session, we will be covering cyber ethics, which carries 10 marks. Let us have a look what is there in the syllabus of cyber ethics. Netiquettes, e-commerce, which includes the security issues like privacy, fraud, secure data transmission, then intellectual property rights, plagiarism, and digital property rights. After that, software license and the open source software movement, and freedom of information and the digital divide. Let us have a look what are the different topics that we are going to cover. In this session, we are going to cover netiquettes, e-commerce, ethical issues. Now, cyber ethics. What is this cyber ethics? Cyber ethics is the study of ethics pertaining to computers, covering user behavior and what computers are programmed to do and how this affects individuals and society. So, cyber ethics is nothing but it is the study of manners, mannerisms, and what is legally we have to do, legally how we should use our computer, legally what should be our behavior, and how the computers are programmed to do all these, and how this is going to affect our what do you say, our position in a society, and how it is affecting the whole society. So this is all about it. Now let us see what are netiquettes. I hope all of you know what are etiquettes. Etiquettes means the behaviors, the moral values, how you should behave, the manners. In the same way, when you are expected to behave in a proper way when you are online, so that behavior, that manners are called netiquettes. Let us have a look what are the different netiquettes that we can consider. First, do not send secret emails to a group of recipients. Do not steal. Like you have to obey your copyrights law. Then do not capitalize everything. That means you are shouting to someone if you are writing any message in capital everything. Then criticism, hard to interpret people's mind over the internet. Sometimes people meant to say otherwise. So it becomes very difficult while you are speaking, you are chatting with someone and you are saying something but someone else has interpreted in some other way. So you have to be very careful what you are writing about your sayings. Then the next one, pay attention to language issues. Like if you are writing something and it is inappropriate or bad language, that may get participant kicked out of a permanently banned from a forum or group. So whatever you are writing, that has to be very much ethical. You should not use any unparliamentary words. Then think before posting. Whatever you are posting, you have to think first whether what type of pros and cons or what are the different consequences that I'm going to have after posting that particular image or post. Then avoid humor. Some people might not understand the joke at all. Instead, you can use emoticons. Then reply quickly. People will expect to receive a reply within a day. So whenever you are replying to a message, to a mail, if it is very important and if it is possible for you, then you should reply on that particular day when you are receiving. Now let us see, what do you mean by e-commerce? In our first unit, we have already done what is online shopping, what is e-shopping, right? What is e-commerce? So it is again about e-commerce. So e-commerce is nothing but we are doing online selling, online business. So that is only e-commerce. In other words, we can say occurrence of commerce activities online is referred to e-commerce. What are the different ethics or ethical issues related to e-commerce? We have to focus on privacy, then fraud, then secure data transmission, then IPR, that is the intellectual property rights, then plagiarism and digital property rights. So these are the 6 very important issues that we have to be considered about it. Now let us start with privacy. Privacy. What do you mean by privacy? Privacy means when you are, suppose you are at home, you would feel that something should be private to me. Everything should not be public. Like what I am eating, what I wear at home, I should not, means I would not like that everyone would know, right? Some things we would like to be private. In the same way, when we are posting our information, we are using our professional personal information online, so we would like to have it private. So that protection of personal information that we have given online, that is privacy. And the related, and it is, if it is related to companies, the company's policies on the use of user data. So this privacy is actually related to the company's policies. Like if I am using Amazon or Myntra or any online website where I am entering my name or date of birth if it is required, so that is my personal information. So that should be safeguard, that should be protected by the companies. So the company laws, we should be aware. Now let us see how to safeguard user privacy. User means us, right? Who are doing the selling and buying online. So the seller, the merchant, like Amazon company and some other ones, must clearly state about how the user data will be used in their site. They should have their proper terms and conditions before making any transactions. The user is making any transaction, before that only they should provide their terms and conditions. The seller must use HTTPS protocol. All of you know what is HTTPS, right? Hypertext Transfer Secure Protocol. Then user go through. So the user, before making any this transactions, they should also go through what are the terms and conditions of that particular site, because after that they should not say, oh, I haven't read this and that, right? So these are the ways where you can safeguard your own privacy, you can protect your personal information. Now what is this fraud? Fraud, we know that is forgery, right? But when it comes to computer fraud, it is using a computer or internet to take or alter electronic data to gain unlawful use of a computer or internet. So basically, doing some forgery using internet and using the data, the digital data or electronic data over the internet with the help of a computer, that is a fraud. We are basically considering about the online frauds. So this illegal computer activities include phishing, social engineering, viruses, scams. All these are considered as fraud only. What are the basic features of fraud? Non-delivered goods, fraudulent payments, stealing of information, non-existent companies like credit card fraud, is again a part example of online fraud. Phishing and these things are already cleared in our previous session of internet. Now, what are the measures to stop fraud? First, a monitoring official body that ensures the sanctity of e-commerce company and delivery of goods as promised. So there is a monetary official body that whether that particular company or that particular website is focusing on their or keeping their promise of delivery of goods or services is not or is there or not. Then strong security mechanism by the e-commerce site and the payment gateways to prevent stealing of crucial information. So basically the merchant company has to use a secured mechanism so that even if the user is entering any password or any bank credentials, that has to be saved. Then official guidelines and safeguards of the selling of users data to third parties. There should be proper guidelines. Like in the previous one, I have told you how to safeguard your privacy, that the merchant should give you proper terms and conditions before making any payments or the transactions. So that point is very important over here also. Then very important, we as a user, we should type the URL on the website and then use it on the browser. We should not just click anywhere like, okay, this is written Amazon, I'll just click it from here and then I'll go. No, do not do this. Please go to the official site and then do your online purchasing, online shopping. And one more thing, whenever you are doing any online shopping, please focus whether that address contains HTTPS and a padlock sign. It should be HTTPS. Okay, if it is containing HTTP, then please do not buy from that particular site. Getting it? So that HTTPS is very important. And this padlock sign, like this, a lock is created. Now, what is the secure data transmission? Applying enough technical safeguards to the data that it safely travels from the user's computer to the server so that no one can eavesdrop, means no one can steal it just over here and steal it. So for that, first one is SSL. SSL is the basic protocol, that is secure sockets layer protocol, to ensure that all the data is encrypted and is transmitted from the web browser to the web server. Then the data encryption. This is again, data encryption is an algorithm or a technique with which all the data are encrypted and sent so that it is hard to steal. And the last one, we have to use, the merchant have to use a safe protocol for transferring of files, that is the secure FTP protocols, SFTP. Okay, now let us learn what is intellectual property rights. First, we will learn what is intellectual property. Suppose I have created my own poem, I have written a story, or some student has written an essay on their own, that is their intellectual property. So any property that is created by your intellect, that has to be safe. So suppose I have created a logo, okay, the trademarks. So for that, there are some laws so that no one can use it again. And even if they are using, they should give you a credit to you. So the intellectual property rights are the rights of the owner of information to decide how much information is to be exchanged, shared, or distributed. It gives the owner a right to decide the price for doing. So, suppose I have created a poem and if someone else is using it, either they have to, so it depends on me what type of credentials or what type of laws I'm going to make for it. Whether that they have to give me some they have to give me some money, or they have to give me the credit that that particular person has created this or used this. Okay. So why must IPR be protected? Why must this intellectual property right be protected? It encourages individuals and businesses to create new software. Then it ensures new ideas and technologies are widely distributed. And the last one, it promotes investment in national economy. So these points are very important so that the IPR is protected. Now let us see what is plagiarism. Now just now we have learned what is IPR. We are talking about our rights so that we can protect our intellectual property. So in the same way, if someone steals it, someone use it without following that IPR, then that is your plagiarism. Suppose you are using some data from the internet, you are writing some essay and you are not mentioning that from where you have got this information, then that is your plagiarism only. So the act of presenting the words, ideas or images, sounds or the creative expressions of others as it is your creation, your own, then that is plagiarism. So plagiarism is stealing of intellectual property. It is actually a cheating. You can say it is an academic offense or an academic theft. Now, moving to next, how not to plagiarize. Another person's idea, opinion, or theory means these things we should not plagiarize. Quotations of another person's actually spoken or written words, then paraphrase of another person's spoken or written words. So, whatever we are using from someone else, we have to give a credit to them. If I am using a proper saying from someone, I have to put it in quotation so that everyone can understand, okay, this has been taken from someone else. You have to give the reference. Okay. And why plagiarism is offense? If plagiarism involves copying not only ideas but also some copyrighted work with acknowledgement, it would amount to both copyright infringement and the violation of the right of the author to be credited. Means, suppose you are copying not only the ideas but also some copyrighted work, then this is actually copyright infringement. You are actually stealing it, and also you are violating the right of that credit of that person who is actually the author. And these are actually punishable. These two offenses are actually punishable and finable. The next one is digital property rights. What is digital property? Anything which is in electronic, any electronic data. So, any information that is created by you or in electronic form, that is only your digital property. So, any right that manages these properties, basically the digital properties, so that no one can use it without your permission, like your IP, intellectual properties. So that is your digital property rights. What are the threats to it? There are some digital software penetration tool or stealing and plagiarizing codes. And what are the protection rules? Anti-tamper solution, so that no one can use it, no one can take it, steal it. Some legal clauses are there, and limit the sharing of software code by using some software licensing and all. The software licensing we will be learning in the next session. Thank you. Hope the session was enjoying and fruitful. If you have any doubt, do contact me and solve the worksheets which I'll be sending depending upon this video. Thank you.